The Premier League 2025-26 season wasted no time delivering a blockbuster as Ruben Amorim's Manchester United hosted Mikel Arteta's Arsenal under the lights at the Theatre of Dreams. But this wasn't just a match. It was a clash of philosophies, of ambitions. United, rebuilt and re-energized after a bold summer, stepped onto the pitch with a promise of modern high-octane football. Arsenal, meanwhile, arrived with one goal in mind: to finally claim the title after years of falling just short. Arteta kept the core of his side intact, added depth in key areas, and sent his Gunners to Old Trafford not as hopeful challengers, but as genuine contenders. From the first whistle, United looked transformed. They pressed relentlessly, dominated possession, and carved out chance after chance. Nothing like the lethargic, lifeless side of recent seasons. This was a team with identity, energy, and belief. Yet Arsenal, seasoned and streetwise, struck when it mattered most. A rehearsed set-piece routine unlocked the breakthrough, and from there the visitors defended with grit and discipline. When the final whistle blew, the scoreboard told the story. Arsenal 1, Manchester United 0. The stats painted a cruel picture. United fired 22 shots to Arsenal's 9, held 61% of the ball, and posted an XG of 1.52 compared to just 1.31 for the Gunners. But football isn't won on numbers, it's won on execution. United's wastefulness in front of goal cost them dearly, while Arsenal's resilience, David Raya's brilliance between the posts, and that single moment of precision from a set piece proved enough. One side had ideas and intensity, the other had ruthlessness and maturity. For United, though, this defeat wasn't all doom and gloom. Amorim's fingerprints were everywhere. A pressing game full of pace and aggression, a side unafraid to dictate the tempo. New arrivals Brian Mbeumo and Matheus Cunha shone brightest, interchanging fluidly, stretching Arsenal's backline and combining with speed and flair. On the left flank, young Patrick Dorgu impressed with his tireless runs and relentless pressure. The building blocks are clearly in place. The problem? Clinical edge. United created enough to win, but lacked the composure to finish the job, especially in the moments that decide big games. It's the mark of a team still growing into its identity. But make no mistake, despite the result, Manchester United looked alive again. And for the first time in a long time, Old Trafford could sense a future worth believing in. Arsenal, on the other hand, delivered a performance that fell well short of expectations. They never really controlled the game, their attacks looked disjointed, and at times they were forced to sit deep and weather United's storm. Yet, with grit, pragmatism, and a single moment of precision from a set piece, the Gunners still walked away with 3 priceless points, the hallmark of a genuine title contender. At the back, William Saliba and Gabriel once again proved why they're among the Premier League's elite defensive partnerships, dominant in the air, uncompromising in the duels, and fully focused in the dying minutes. Behind them, David Raya was outstanding, not just with crucial saves, but also with his calm distribution, game management, and composure under pressure. Up front, though, the debut of Victor Gyökeres didn't quite click. Isolated and out of sync, he struggled to make an impact. But the introductions of Kai Havertz and Noni Madueke in the second half added a spark. Their ability to escape United's press and hold up the ball on the counter gave Arsenal much-needed relief, underlining both the depth of Arteta's squad and his tactical flexibility when the game demanded it. But the real drama wasn't just about tactics, it was about controversy. Barely 13 minutes in, the old ghosts of VAR, refereeing consistency, and Premier League credibility were back in full view. The game's only goal came from a corner, with Declan Rice whipping in a perfect delivery for Ricardo Calafiori to nod home from close range. The flashpoint, William Saliba's block on goalkeeper Altay Bayindir. Replays clearly showed Bayindir's movement was completely obstructed. He had no chance to challenge for the ball. Similar incidents were penalized repeatedly last season, yet this time both VAR and the officials on the pitch stayed silent, suspiciously silent. After the match, Bruno Fernandes didn't hold back in his interview with Sky Sports, reminding everyone that the Premier League had promised to clamp down on such fouls, only for words to vanish into thin air. Manager Ruben Amorim went even further, venting his frustration. If that's not a foul, then what's the point of VAR at all? The debate only intensified when Sky Sports replayed the incident and brought in Roy Keane and Micah Richards to dissect it live. Keane put the blame squarely on Altay Bayindir, insisting that a Premier League goalkeeper must command his box like a beast, ferocious, ruthless, untouchable inside the 6-yard area. Richards, though, hit back, arguing that every keeper deserves at least a minimum level of protection. Anyone who has played the game, he said, knows full well that Saliba was blocking the man, not the ball, and the inconsistencies are impossible to ignore. Just last season, Liverpool had a goal disallowed for the faintest of brushes on a goalkeeper's shoulder. In another match between Chelsea and Aston Villa, a near-identical block was flagged by the assistant referee and overturned by VAR. At some point, this stops being human error and becomes something far more troubling. A pattern. What cut deepest, however, was the silence. No statement, no explanation, no accountability from the Premier League after the match. That cold absence of clarity stings more than an admission of error. It leaves fans with the uneasy reminder that even one of the biggest leagues in the world still can't seem to govern the very technology designed to uphold fairness. Defeats always hurt, especially on opening day, especially when it's the first chapter of a new era. But inside Old Trafford last night, among the groans of frustration, something else flickered to life. This wasn't the hollow disappointment of old, the kind born from lifeless, directionless football. This was different. This felt like a stumble on the right path, not another drift into the dark. For the first time in years, Manchester United looked like a team worth believing in. The numbers underline it. Amorim's side outshot Arsenal, dominated possession, pressed harder, and posted a little bit higher XG. Strip away that controversial 13th-minute goal, and the narrative could have been entirely different. Yet even in defeat, the signs of progress were unmistakable. Bryan Mbeumo and Matheus Cunha, debuting in red, played as though they'd been teammates for months. Mbeumo relentlessly attacked the gaps down Arsenal's right, dribbling with daring, shooting with confidence, and linking play with real fluidity. Cunha, meanwhile, pressed tirelessly, moved intelligently, and always seemed to find the space to keep attacks alive. United didn't score, but they attacked with intent, with purpose, with identity. And in that, perhaps, lies the most important victory of all. After the match, Ruben Amorim's words struck the perfect balance between humility and conviction. He didn't make excuses, nor did he downplay the sting of defeat. Instead, he admitted this wasn't the result he wanted, but it was a beginning he could be proud of. And you could see why. United pressed with greater cohesion, shifted seamlessly from defense to attack, and carried themselves with confidence in midfield rather than hiding from the ball as in years past. There was also a moment worth remembering. When the final whistle blew, many United fans stood and applauded. In recent seasons, they had jeered, whistled, even headed for the exits before the 80th minute. But this time, they seemed to understand. Defeat isn't always shameful. If your team plays football worth believing in, you can still leave the stadium with your head held high. But belief always brings pressure, and that pressure now grows heavier with every headline, every pundit's soundbite, every skeptical glance. The big question is whether Manchester United's hierarchy has the patience to stay the course with Amorim. One defeat won't define a season, but an entire campaign might. What fuels optimism is the positive atmosphere he's created, something that vanished under his predecessors the moment results turned sour. For Amorim, this loss will be a lesson, but also a signal that United are moving in the right direction, because in football the scoreboard remains the ultimate judge. And as the dust settled on 90 minutes at Old Trafford, only one truth stood out. United played better, brighter, more ambitious football, but it was Arsenal who smiled at the final whistle. That's exactly what makes Arteta's side true contenders. They don't need to dominate, they just need to win.